Alright guys, today we're going to be looking at a couple of berets that came out of a recent estate auction out in Arizona. Both of these berets came from the same person. And we see this first one here is a Vietnam era U.S. Special Forces beret. There's a couple of attributes, mostly being that the DSA contract on there, DSA 100-67, it's a 1967 contract date. And sometimes, I don't know, some people will say that most of the Vietnam ones, that the liners were torn out to make them more breathable. I really don't find that many of the Vietnam era ones that are missing the liner, so it makes them fairly easy to identify. I think there are some reproductions, but the reproductions are fairly obvious with the way they're stamped. It's kind of ugly. And then I think in the 70s is when they removed these vent holes. So, if you see one that may be hard to read, but it still has the vent holes, probably means it's at least from the 70s. And we see that the flash that's on there is for the 5th Special Forces Group. And the second one here, this would be a ERDL pattern, but this is a poplin, be a pre-ripstop version, making it a little bit older. Some of these berets were sold as more of a souvenir, and some of them were worn in the field. What makes this one a little more unique is the embroidery with the white warriors. First, when I saw that, I said white warriors. I just thought, well, if that's some kind of a little bit like a joke. You had all the black power and different things around that time. I thought, well, maybe that's what that's supposed to mean. But white warriors was actually the 2nd Battalion, 12th Infantry Regiment, which was assigned to the Tropic Lightning, the 25th Infantry Division out of Hawaii. And so this gentleman he ended up retiring as a first sergeant. I think that's what it was, first sergeant. And so he ended up being in the military for quite a while, but he actually started out as being a corpsman for the U.S. Navy and was in Korea and was actually at the Chosin Reservoir. And so I'm sure that was a pretty bad experience, with temperatures being below zero, and then having to deal with, there were 30,000 UN troops there against 120,000 North Korean and Chinese. But at some point he must have transferred over to the U.S. Army, and that's what these two berets would have been from when he was in the Army. I believe they stopped using I think they said for political reasons, they stopped using the White Warriors moniker. Just started calling them the Warriors. I think they started doing that like in '69. And so that would mean this one's most likely from pre-'69. And it didn't take the 25th Division pen off of there, but you can kind of see it's hand painted. And if you look out the back, which is nearly impossible to see, but I think it's probably one of those, they call them beer can made ones that would have been made over in Southeast Asia. And then his combat badge there for combat medical, which again, both of those have been on there for quite a while. Sometimes you'll see stuff that people just stick on there more recently, whether it's for a reunion or so forth. But both of these, I'm pretty sure, have been on this beret for a long time. But anyways, I just thought I'd share those so you guys could see a couple of different berets and a little of the backstory on them. And that's going to wrap it up. I hope you've liked this video. If you have, hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, I appreciate that. And I said that's going to wrap it up. Till the next time.